back. Well, what have we got today? Well, isn't it exciting? Well, it is to me. I hope it's going to be to you as well. What we've got is the walnut body. We've got the rosewood neck. Actually, it's not this one. I'll just put that there for show. And a pile of bits that we're going to assemble into a guitar. I can't wait because I know what the parts are like, and it all looks pretty good to me. We've got some innovative bits as well, like for example the Obsidian wire, it's called. Yeah, it's there in another video and it's down below. Always check down below in the text to see links to some of this other stuff, like the tremolo, the Gotoh tremolo, these pickups and all sorts of things, the body, the neck, the whole darn thing. Yeah, so I'm going to move all this stuff and get the body out, and we'll start there as we mean to continue. Yeah, I can't wait. But just before we do, just wanted to show you this. Yeah, it's that old body. Remember it? I might put a picture over there somewhere. Yeah, this is that old body that's going to be turned into, well, it's going to be turned into a, what is it going to be turned into? Into a MIDI guitar with an internal setup for the MIDI from Roland. And yeah, the body's been sprayed in Olympic white. I like it. Doesn't matter if you do, but I like it. So that's coming up in another video. I just wanted to show you that, of how it's come so far. Yeah. Well, just to refresh your mind, this is the body, just in case you haven't seen it, because I did actually put a post up about this body, a review, and it only got something like 1,000 views, which isn't really very good. Well, it might be to some guys, but to me, it wasn't worth making the video. If it carries on that way, I won't be making any more of anything. 1,000 isn't really good. But there it is. It's a Warmoth body, and it's quite unique. I'm not going to go over it again. I'll point you down to the thing below where you can look at it there. If I was to turn it over, you can see that it's a rear-rooted thing. It's all very nice. Yeah. And it's roasted ash, which is unusual. Roasted ash and some particular type of walnut, which gets figured. So let's whip this cover off. It's all nice. Got your screws inside, all the stuff. It's all so easy, really. Tear it off. Why do I care? I don't think you care either. Throw it over there. So on the back you got the screws, all the rest of the bits. Throw all them down there. Okay, well here we are round the back with the rear root. And yeah, well, very nice. It's a bit thick in here, so you've got to be a little bit careful with exactly what you're going to fit in. Now, you might know I'm going to fit that Obsidian wire device in here, which should be, well, interesting to say the least, as whether it'll fit or it won't. Have a look at the Obsidian wire device and see how it fits. So I just want to jog your mind as to what it looks like. It's, yeah, it's like that. And it fits in there, or something like that. But we'll come back to that in a second. Okay, well, before we go much further, I've done a little bit of work on the body, and I just want to tell you what I did, because anybody who's going to sort of build one of these, or anything like it, you might need to do this. You'll notice on this body that it's very thick in coating. Yeah, it's a nice, glossy, very glossy top. And there are no scratches on there, no matter what you might see. But what I've done is I've routed out, I don't know which word it is. Yeah, these holes. And if you don't do that, and you just try and just stuff in the, you know, the pots, you can actually chip this stuff off. No problem, it'll chip very easily because it's very hard finish. I also did these two holes, if you can see that. I don't know if you can. I also did the surface, the top little bit of these two here. Because if you don't do that, when it's time to knock in these inserts, this will chip around the edges. So every hole that you can see, I've actually done the work on. And no doubt I'll do the same on the back of the body where the neck screws fit, just so that there's not going to be any chipping of this stuff. I just wanted to point that out on the way through. I'll get back to doing a bit more now, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, well, fitting a Obsidian wire to a rear rooted guitar is not easy, because the length of the threads on these pots really isn't long enough, and you have to start sort of cutting out a bit at the back to sort of allow the things to sink in a little bit further. Now you can do it, and these are only very, very loosely screwed on at the moment because I haven't finished with that. But you can see there's not much threads. If I tighten them down, they'll be fine. But it is tight to do. This isn't in place yet, and I want to talk about that when we flip it over in a second, because this has got a piece of wire on it, or a piece of ribbon cable, that doesn't easily bend, and that's another problem. Obsidian, if you think about that, you might have made the threads maybe a bit deeper, or had an alternative, which I never saw. And yeah, we can do it, as I said, but it is a bit of a job, and I think anybody that's never done it before might have a bit of fun. Yeah, so let's turn it over and just show you what's going on the back. Well, there it is so far, and it all looks quite nice from where you are. But you can see this ribbon, and you can see this switch needs to go across, and it's the type of ribbon that doesn't actually want to bend. And I think that's a bit of a shortcoming. If you want the truth, I think that's a pain. Maybe you use a different type of ribbon cable or something. I also had to cut out a little area down here where these, well, they look like capacitors to me. I could be wrong, but they sort of interfere a little bit with the rear out with this bulge here, if you see that. And once it's done, it's done. You know, it's all well and good, and it'll probably be fine. I'm not going to put any copper tape in here, you know, because it's that tight. I don't think I'll get away with it, if you want the truth, but it's fine as it is. And I did take the other side of those pots and take the screws off, which they say you can't do. But what I did is, when I took them off, as you can see on the pictures, basically I bobbed a bit of solder at the bottom so that they do actually have a connection to ground. I think that's, if you take the screws off, it becomes a bit of a problem for the pots. So putting that little bob of solder on each stem should solve the problem. I'm pretty confident it does, because I had the meter on there and it seemed to connect fine. Now, if you're like me, you want to be very careful when you're banging these in, because you could actually damage the guitar body very, very easily. And I know that if you go and buy from somebody like Warmoth, you can actually buy these little bits, providing you get the right ones. And I noticed on this particular tremolo unit, on the Gotoh one, that these are actually a different internal thread size than they are on the Fender. So when you're seeing this stuff, like so, this is different than a Fender size. So you couldn't just put some old Fender ones in and hammer away. You're going to have to be very careful. You could put a screw in the top if you find the right thread, and then tap it in that way, but make sure that underneath the guitar that you've always got some form of protection and padding. Otherwise you could very easily damage the guitar. Well, there you go, that's those two in place. And what I did, I used this as this is like a 1/4 inch extension. I use this as like a drift to tap in. But do remember that you do need to have that protection underneath that I keep talking about. Protect the body of your guitar, and to make sure that it is actually on something firm. Okay, well, here we are. I've fitted the switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fits very nice. It's a shame that they don't have optional gold screws. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but I don't know about that. So I'm afraid they're going to stay as they are, because they're an unusual size. And take note of that, they're not a Fender size, which I think is a bit of a pain. The ribbon on the back that I've mentioned a little bit earlier, as you can see that on that picture now, it's fitted okay, but it was really awkward to sort of get into place. You can do it, but if you're using a rear-richard guitar, listen, this is a lot of hard work to get things right, and you could damage your body. Something like this, which I don't really recommend because it's a very expensive body. But it does fit, and the other thing I want to notice, we've just about got a thread on each one of these, which I'm happy with. That'll be fine, and we'll get away with that quite nicely. These two also fitted in quite nicely, and I'm glad they did because, like I said earlier, the Gotoh trem, the one we're using, which is a 510 TS FE1-GG 42mm, these are different sizes than Fender components. Bear that in mind too. I might be covering this more than once, like I've said, but do bear in mind that you know, different people look at different parts of these videos. You might be looking at how to fit a Gotoh and you're not interested in the rest, or you might be fitting an Obsidian wire, even to a regular Strat, and you might find some of the information very useful. This is the reason that I tend to make these guitars like this one here. I think the next thing to do is to fit these 3 pickups in place, because the neck can go on later. I think we'll fit them 3 next, and yeah, go on from there. Moving on to these pickups. When I first considered looking at this, I thought of different surrounds for the pickups. I've got various surrounds, and this is one of them. Let me get one of these out, and I'll show you. Yeah, this is one of them. They're made of rosewood. And I thought to myself, you know, when you look at this, I could put a rosewood on. Well, you know what? I don't think I will. No, the rosewood has bitten the dust. They weren't that expensive. These were off Amazon. Alnikov 2 pieces rosewood single coil pickup thingies. So I didn't bother with them, and I fell back to what I've got in here. I think I did. Let's have a look. Yeah, I fell back to these. Yeah, but the important bit about these, I bought these in England from Northwest Guitars for about £4 or £5, something like that each. Now you might say, Tony, that's expensive. But there's a lesson in these. Well, it is expensive, however, it isn't. Because if you go to a more famous company, you can pay £20 for one of these, or somewhere near. So these from Northwest Guitars, great guys by the way, I'm not paid at all to say this, I bought these as an ordinary customer, and those guys have got a lot of bits and pieces. I've got some more bits down here, they're all really quite nice. Yeah, so them are what we're going to be using to fit the 2 single coils. So then we'll think about, well, what are we going to do with the humbucker? We got a humbucker on this thing. Well, I've got one of them too, and I've got a gold one, and this is quite a nice one too. It works, by the way, this one does, on a flat surface, whereas a lot of them work on a a sort of oval sort of surface. Now if you look at this one, it's flat and it looks really quite nice, don't you think? Well, we're going to see it close up when I've fitted the stuff. Okay, well, as you can see, I've fitted them. It's not rocket science to fit them. The wiring's obviously round the back still to do, but there they are fitted on the front, and they look yeah, they look quite good to me, them do. They all sort of match very nicely. This is the Seymour Duncan JB pickup, which I was corrected that it's not a Jeff Beck pickup, but sort of it is. And the reason sort of it is that basically it was worked on with Jeff Beck, but there was never a Jeff Beck one, they say. I've always called it a Jeff Beck model. Fancy that. The middle one is a reverse wound, reverse polarity. And if you don't like that, you can, and it's supposed to have different staggers and things like that, but I don't really care about that. We can just, yeah, flip the wires if you don't like it. That's what I say, at least for now. And in the end here, we've got a YJM Fury, which I really wanted to get the sort of Malmsteen neck tone, if you get me. And I'm sure that one there is going to do it. I fitted the little white knob on the end. Yeah, all looks good. Seems to work. I'll probably change the odd screw for gold ones, or not, just depends what mood I'm in, because I can't change them for gold. The tops are, the bottoms aren't. Listen, if PRS can get away with it, so can I. I've tightened these up, so they are actually just one thread deep, but I'm happy enough with that. I'm not too worried. And, you know, this one pulls out and pushes in very nicely. So, yeah, that's all so good there. It's probably the wiring next, and yeah, I'll flip around the back and have a look at what's what, and maybe call you back in a minute. Okay, just before I do go round the back, I thought I'd just check the socket. Yeah, here it is. This is the one provided by Obsidian wire. You can see it's quite a nicely wired job. Well, it's okay. It's not bad. Yeah, there's only one problem. You see, I've got a sort of 7/8 type of connector for this that you might see there now, and it's going to fit in there when I've done my little bit. It is very nice. There's only one problem. It doesn't want to know. It doesn't work. It's the wrong size, basically. So that is a problem. But lucky for me, I bought a gold one, just so I could have gold on the outside. Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm glad I did, because now I can take the wires off this one, put them on this one, and I'll have a nice gold connector, whereas this one just doesn't fit. And there's a little shot of the thing when it's been finished, ready to fit, which I'm going to fit now. You just slide it in. 2 screws, one either side, and you're in business with that. Okay, well, the wiring's in place, and it's not rocket science to do. I'm just going to run through what I've got mine set as with the colours for each pickup. And by the way, don't go and cut the wires down, will you? Because if you want to take them out and sell them at some stage, then nobody will want them. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so let's run through it from the top. Well, actually from this end, over here. What you've got is you've got a black and a white, and that's from the input there. You can see that. Now the next pickup is the neck pickup, which is the Malmsteen pickup. And what I've got on that one, let me have a look, is a green with the silver, which you can see, and a black next to it. You can see them too. There's nothing in 5 and 6. We then hop to number 7. Number 7 is the mid, which is the custom reverse wound. And in 7 and 8 I've got black and white. You can see them too. And if it's a bit of a mismatch because it's reverse wound and all the rest of it, just flip them two over. Yeah, that's your short term. And then if you change any other pickups later on, yeah, well, you'll be okay again. You know, if you go to single coils, because the other two in here are actually both humbuckers. That's a single coil. If you move on from there, we move on to pin 9, which is that one. You'll see that's green and silver again, as it was on pin 3. But this is off the bridge pickup, which is the humbucker, which is the JB humbucker. Next one's black, you can see that. One after that is red, and the one after that is white, which is really is part of the split. Remember, there's a split on this thing. Well, over there, look. So that's the wiring basically. Oh, and don't forget that you need to run this little wire here up for the bridge. Yeah, you have to do that, and it connects on that little screw down there. And apart from that, it's all pretty interesting and simple, assuming it works, which I'm going to go and test it next, which makes sense really before you carry on. And yeah, then we'll look a bit further. But you do want to test it at this point. So if you got something wrong, you can go and unconnect them on this particular type of connector. I think it's all right, but they're never that great. But once it's in there, it's in there. What I like about the rear-rooted one, just think of the things you could put in here to drive that. Yeah, well, I won't say any more for now, but you get the idea. I'll be back soon. Okay, let's just give it a quick test. It either works or it doesn't. Okay, we're on this one. Well, that's working. Yeah, so's that. So's that. So's that. So's that. The only one in contest is this one. I can't tell any difference there. There might be. We'll see, and if not, it's easy to fix that. It's just a couple of wires. Oh, there you are. Bit of a job. Well, let's discuss the Obsidian wave right now, and whether I found it was good, bad, or indifferent. I haven't heard it playing yet as such. I mean, it works, but whether David Gilmour's in there or not, we'll see. I'm certainly no David Gilmour, but don't let that bother you. Yeah, it's the gear you're looking at, right? Otherwise I'll have to charge you for coming in. Anyway, Obsidian. What do I like about it? Well, I like it does eventually fit. It's not designed for a rear root guitar. I've said it all the way through. I can confirm that. If you know what you're doing, and that's not me, but if you know what you're doing, you could get it fitted like I have. And it certainly does fit. It's a bit tight on the old threads and things on the front. But it does fit, and you know, I don't expect to see any problems with it in that respect. What about putting them little wires in off of these pickups? Well, that's slightly another story. I think you've got to bear in mind the wires aren't particularly thick on some of these pickups that you buy, and these were brand new pickups, and I didn't really want to cut them down and all that stuff. So you can have troubles getting them in, and they look okay, but they're not actually okay. So my advice on these, if you get any problem, come and have a look at the connectors. Give them a little tug one at a time, and you might find that the odd one just pulls out because it wasn't really in. And I found that. You know, I've done lots of different types of gear. I have worked on similar products to that some years back, and to be honest, the problems were very similar. I was fitting them in a rear root. Holes weren't deep enough because of the threads. You know, the sort of thing. The threads weren't deep enough because of the rear root. And the same old type of little connector for your wires was around in that one. Probably is even today if it's still around. I think it is. So you've got to, you know, because there's no soldering. It's not the best of things in the world, but it does work, I hope. I'm sure it will. So that's the Obsidian to date, and the pickups, well, I've heard them make noises, so that's all right for now. Where we can go next? Well, I think we can have a look at the neck. Yeah, we'll probably put, I don't know, we might do the bridge. Let me have a look. Okay, I decided to do the bridge. Here it is. Yeah, let's go have a look at that, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, well, we've got a little bit further. Now we've got the tremolo on there. It's all good. Yeah, I've got a couple of end things to do. One of these to fit, you know, well, more around the back. A neck to fit, and then a bit of a setup. How hard was it to do this? Well, to be honest, so far, the hardest bit was getting them little wires in them pockets. I have to say that was the hardest bit. Even fitting the things at the back, you know, the Obsidian setup, wasn't that hard. I had to do a bit of drilling. bit of cutting out and things like that. There's a few pictures floating past the screen right now, so you've got some idea of what I did. I didn't just fit it on and it worked. It's not that simple. But this, now I'm at this stage, I think we'll go look at the neck. Yeah, why not? Well, here we are with the neck. A lot of people have seen this neck before because it's been reviewed down there in the text, like I keep saying in the videos. It's, yeah, this is quite a nice one. It's actually a Warmoth one, but it's a Warmoth licensed neck. I always like to buy licensed necks because they're more, well, they're more in keeping with what you'd expect. That's what I'd describe it as. And of course it's licensed. Now Fender didn't make the neck, but it is licensed, and to me, I think I like to do that. I like to support Fender where I can. In this case, this is more of a Warmoth guitar, but in a lot of instances, I've been out and bought lots of Fender parts. In fact, I've even got Fender parts here, right now. Here they are to be fitted. And there's a pile of them over there. Yeah, so don't think for one moment that I'm anti-Fender, because I'm not. Okay, well, we got the neck here. There it is. All very nice. It's been reviewed before. Check down in the text, won't you? And you get a proper review about this this really nice rosewood neck. Feels awesome. Suits the guitar too. Yeah, so we've got a fit. Tuners, or tuners as they say in England. And I bought the Fender ones. Yeah, these are Fender locking tuners. Gold plated. Well, not real gold, is it? There it is. And yeah, we've got to fit them on. But it's not that simple. Nothing ever is. Let's get a bit closer. Well, here we are. A bit closer. What a fantastic neck. Yeah. And here are the tuners. Fender. Genuine parts that you can go and buy. Just as I did. Everything's bought. Nothing's for free. At least not in these videos. There it is. Looks really, yeah, looks the part. But there is a problem with these, because this is one of the things that you always find with the likes of third-party necks, and I haven't found one that is any different. I have to say that. When you turn the neck over, yeah, it's what you'd expect for a 1962 style neck, or something like that. May not be, but here's one of the tuners. So it's not just a question of taking one of these tuners and fitting it in, and it fits, because it doesn't. You can see, if you look carefully, let's turn that on a moment. Yeah, if you look carefully, the little pegs keep it up. Yeah, which is a bit of a pain, really, that is. Yeah, here it is, a multi-tuner pin drilling jig. From Tech Guitar Works, it says. If you have a look inside, I've showed this before on different videos, but I'll show it again for people who haven't seen it. And what you have is you have this sort of thing that fits on. A few drills, a few bits and pieces. Let's have a look at that neck. So what you do, basically you fit that on. And you hold it in place with this screw from the front. And you basically just drill the holes. Line them all up and drill the holes. Just got to make sure it is lined up, if nothing else. And here's a look at the finished item. What do you think? I think it's pretty awesome. But I'm like that. Let's turn this over and so you can have a look at the back. Yeah, and on the back, yours should look like that too. But most importantly, rather than just looking at the back and the front, what you do need to do is to look there. And you'll see that these tuners are staggered. You see that? They go smaller at this end than they are at that end. Now think about these staggered tuners. If you don't know about that, you can fit them in any old place. So you have the highest ones nearest the nut, and the lowest ones nearest the end of the peg head. Yeah, that's how you do it. And that's how easy it is to actually put tuners on. So there you have it. It's that easy to put together. Obviously you've got to fit the neck next. And once you've fitted the neck, well, there's a bit of lining up and tuning and all the rest of it, which I'll be doing a bit later in this video. So I'm going to go and fit the neck now. That's the next job. It's not rocket science. I've got a Fender neck plate. Why not? So you're there. I wondered where you'd got to. I wondered where I'd got to as well. Yeah, I was getting a little bit fed up of YouTube, if you want the truth. I'm in the middle of the guitar, which you're going to see in a minute. But I just thought I'd have this quick chat with you as I'm passing. Yeah, because that's what I'm doing. Yeah, it gets a bit frustrating and boring and depressing sometimes when you're doing all this stuff. Cost me a small fortune to do it. Make no mistake of that, since 2009. And not once have I ever got that money back. Sure, YouTube pays something, but it's a small, what can I call it? A small amount of money, in the nicest way I can put it. Yeah, that you get back towards the costs. My channel is always going to be not hundreds of thousands of people. It's never going to do that because it's geared towards specific people, not the mad crowd, if you will. And there's a lot of them, even in the viewers that come to my channel, which makes it another story. But recently I ended up paying a pile of tax, even though I lost a lot of money from doing these things. I ended up paying an amount of tax for something that's just pointless. It's that simple. You lose a bit of faith in it after a while. And yeah, that's where I am. Anyway, that's enough of this for now. I've got some more things to do. I'll show you some more now. And we'll carry on until I get totally peed off, and then the channel will probably just stop. Okay, well, as you can see, the guitar's come an awful lot further. The neck's on. Well, in fact, I hate to say this, but it's finished. I did everything off camera because I just got fed up with doing it on camera, for want of a better phrase. You can see it's got the bridge fitted. It's got those 3 pickups we spoke about. It's got metal pickup holders. It's got the Obsidian switching all fitted in there. 5-way switch. Around the back, as you'll see from some of the pictures, yeah, well, first of all, you've got this thing down here where the wire goes for when you're plugging in, as you can see that. And then we've got a shot of the back of it while I was in the middle of the wiring. It took me a little while to do that. It's not too difficult, but those little connections that are on the Obsidian board, you know, that sort of push-in type of connector, has never been one of the sort of favourites of mine. And I've seen it before on other products. Having said that, I did do it in the end, and it does work and all that stuff. And that's what you've got. What can I was going to say? Yeah, and on the front here, you've got the screws did fit just by one nut on this rear-rooted body. I wouldn't call it perfect, but it is what it is. It's not bad. Yeah, there's a shot of the pickups when I'd first fitted them. And the other thing that was a bit of a pain was these things for the bridge. Yeah, you got to hammer them in and do all that stuff, which is not easy. you could get a few things wrong. Nothing's perfect on this one, I have to say. It's not my best build, but it's not bad. Yeah, so there's the shot of the Obsidian again, once I'd got it completed with its wiring. And not much more I can say about that, except that you do need a little bit of practice to do it. There's the connector I was talking about, and it can be a little bit funny. Now if you look at those two wires on the left hand side of that picture, the red and the white, they shouldn't be in there. So later I removed those and just joined them together and sealed them off. We got the switch for HSS. I got it switched to that, which is important if you've got HSSs. There's the body with it sort of together, but lacking the just the knobs that are on the front. Yeah, and then you move further forward to the neck, and I had to fit the tuners. And there's a couple of the holes for the tuners because I fitted Fender locking tuners. And there's the there's the headstock with them all fitted. Yeah, it seemed to work for me. But if you haven't got the tool to do that, it could be a bit painful. You do need a sort of tool really to do a proper job. And there's a quick shot of the back of the neck with the tuners in place. All very nice. There's the licensed by Fender bit, say no more. And as we move further along, I did then fit the neck, but that little picture that you can see there on screen now all relates to cutting the neck screws shorter so they don't come out the front of the neck on this particular guitar, and that's because it's hacked away around the back. Okay, and there's a shot of the guitar before I strung her up, so to speak. Here's another shot of should I say another shot? Here's the first shot of the tremolo and how I fitted it. And don't forget the ground wire that you have to connect, will you? No, of course you won't. And now really, this brings me to this point where the strings are fitted, the action's been done, the intonation's been done. Although it wasn't that far out, they seem to set these up sort of near before you start. Yeah, so it's all there. It's all rock and rolls. All sounds okay as well. Whether it sounds like David Gilmour's another story. I'm no David Gilmour, so it sounds more like me. But that's what I'd say with the basic Obsidian board. It is what you make of it. Remember, I've put whatever pickups I wanted in. So will it sound the same as David Gilmour? Probably not. Let's just move the camera a little bit further. I just want to show you something else. Okay, well, if you look carefully down here, you'll see the string offset on the neck. And remember, this neck was one of those necks that was not particularly tight in the body. But there it is. That's how it's come out. It looks okay to me. Yeah, it's just about right. And it feels pretty awesome. There's no getting away from that. And there it is round the back. As you can see, it's pretty nice. And looking at it here, you can see I fitted the back plate. I haven't put a cover on that. I'm not really that bothered. I did fit the strap locks, and they are strap locks. I forget which ones they are, but they were pretty expensive for what they are. I think they're 24 quid for two, which I think's a bit comical. Yeah, I think they're shallow, but they're the newer ones. So that's basically the guitar as you see it. Okay, well there you are, a finished guitar. Yeah, next thing you'll see with it is you'll hear it being played probably. That'll be the next bit, and that'll be the end of this particular video. So hey Tony, what else am I going to do? Now I'm not sure whether you can remember much about this one. I looked at this a while back, but ever since then it had a spray up and into Olympic white and all that sort of stuff, and I drilled all them holes that you can see on the front, and that's for really to fit this. Yeah, the GK kit, GT3 divided pickup kit, and it'll be in that guitar. Now that guitar is just a Bitzer guitar, it is what it is, but the fact is that yeah, it should be pretty good. It's really going to end up being more of a sort of kick around guitar with MIDI integral, and away you go. So there it is, the walnut guitar with the rosewood neck. And yeah, you've seen that. Well, you've seen enough. That's all you're going to see. it'll be played on some track. And that'll be that for that. This one here, like I said, it's going to have that GK Kit GT3 in there. It's already been well and truly cooked in the back, if you can see that, so that all that should fit. Will it? Well, it might not. I don't really care. It'll either work or it won't. Yeah, gets you like that these days. Let's just put that down a minute. Okay, well now I'm going to talk a little bit about things, about my circumstance. Yeah, about me for a change, rather than talking about equipment for you and everybody else. Yeah, here we are in this country, in the UK, with a government that doesn't really know what day it is. They have no clue. They are entirely deranged. That's how I describe them. Some of the mentality is what you'd expect from a company that makes an amplifier and it's full of rubbish inside, but they don't like to admit it. That's what you get. Yeah, and they're coming along towards the end of October to, well, it's a bit like Robin Hood. Yeah, they take from the rich and give to the poor. But in this case, they're taking from the poor and they're giving it to other countries. And things like that. But I tell you what, I haven't got the time of day for them. And part of all that is part of all this, because I haven't really got the time of day to sit here earning money for a bunch of that they are. Dislike is not a good enough word. They're terrible people. They deserve somewhere else. And I'm not even going to give you any more information about my views about that government. But it gets you depressed. It gets me frustrated. This whole thing on YouTube, well, listen, if you want to go selling out to various people where they give you equipment and you lie about it all day, great, you'll have more than 40,000 viewers. Yeah, I could name them. I'll just get some more hate mail then, though. Yeah, I could name them. But I don't do that. I don't sell out. I only do what I see. If it's rubbish, I'll tell you it's rubbish. And a lot of people don't like that. Oh, why does it hover at 40,000, give or take? Well, that's part of the reason. They dislike intensely when I show a piece of equipment that's below par and should never have been sold. That's just the way people are. That's the way they are. Nobody supports me. I mean nobody. Yeah, you come and subscribe and you watch the videos, don't get me wrong. But the real support that it takes comes out of my pocket. It always did. It always will do, most likely. Well, it probably won't go on for much longer. I've just had enough. Yeah. And then I'll sell all my gear and probably leave the country, yeah. That sounds like a plan.